Sometimes we get so caught up chasing success that we don't realize the most precious thing in our lives is quietly slipping away until it's too late. Back then, my life felt like a little piece of paradise. Every morning was bathed in soft sunlight and the cheerful songs of birds. And Emma was the soul of that garden. With a smile as bright as dawn and eyes that held a whole universe of love, she was everything to me. Together, we nurtured tiny seeds of hope and built our home brick by brick, with trust, laughter, and quiet understanding. Each morning, as the first rays of sunlight spilled through our window, Emma and I would sit side by side on our little balcony, sipping steaming cups of coffee. The warmth filled the quiet space between us, blending with the rich aroma in the air. It was a simple ritual, but it felt like magic. We'd dream out loud about a cozy home filled with the laughter of children, about traveling the world hand in hand, about growing old together in peace. In every dream, Emma was the center. My light, my compass, my everything. To me, Emma was the embodiment of grace and compassion. She had a heart big enough to understand every stumble I made, and kind enough to lift me back up, every single time. Her words were like medicine, gentle, healing, always finding me when I needed them most. With her by my side, I felt like the luckiest man alive. At that time, I poured every ounce of myself into my job in advertising. Work wasn't just a paycheck, it was a door to a better future, a way to give Emma the life she deserved. I was the first to arrive at the office, the last to leave. I lived and breathed campaigns, deadlines, data. In my mind, it was all worth it. I believed I was building a strong, solid future for us, for her. I threw myself into work like a moth to a flame. Endless meetings, thick stacks of strategy documents, complex deals. They became my world. And success came. Bigger paychecks, promotions, recognition. I was proud of what I'd achieved. I truly believed I was doing the right thing, but I was wrong. The more I chased after success, the more I unknowingly chipped away at something far more valuable. Nights at the office became more frequent. Late-night work calls replaced late-night talks. Promises, like a romantic dinner or a weekend getaway, were postponed, then forgotten. Caught in the whirlwind of deadlines and ambition, I lost sight of the quiet signs around me. I didn't see Emma's eyes, waiting for me when I walked in late. I didn't hear her unspoken worries. I kept telling myself I was doing this for us, when in reality, I was slowly fading from the life we'd built together. Dinner time became one of the few moments we still shared, but even then, silence filled the air. I was there in body, but not in spirit. My mind still locked on unfinished tasks, future meetings. Emma would quietly serve the food, her eyes distant, her smile faint. I stopped listening. I stopped noticing. And worst of all, I stopped showing her that she mattered. I'd gotten so used to Emma's presence, her love, her quiet strength, that I thought it would always be there. I took it for granted, like air, like time. But love needs care. It needs time, intention, little moments that say you matter, I see you. And then one ordinary night, just like so many before, I came home, tired, distracted, still thinking about contracts and spreadsheets, and the house felt off, too quiet, too still, no footsteps, no gentle humming from the kitchen, no warm light from the balcony. On the table was a small note, just a few lines, but they were enough to shatter everything I thought was secure. With time, with genuine care, and with even the smallest acts of love. Time kept slipping away, like grains of sand falling quietly through my fingers. I got more and more lost in my work, while Emma became quieter with each passing day. It wasn't that she had changed. It was me. I had lost the ability to sense the subtle shifts in her soul. Dinners without me became a routine part of her life. She still prepared the meals with care, still set the table neatly, but the chair across from her sat empty more often than not. The silence in our home grew heavier, drowning out the laughter and conversations that once filled the air. Our talks became shorter, shallower. By the time I got home late, worn out from endless meetings and deadlines, all I wanted was to crash into bed and escape into sleep. Emma would sit beside me, gently asking how my day went, but I'd offer half-hearted replies, my mind still tangled up in figures and forecasts. I didn't have the energy, or maybe the heart, to truly listen anymore, to hear what she needed to say, to feel what she was holding inside. Emma, with her endless patience and quiet strength, never complained. She kept the house warm, took care of everything, stayed by my side. But I began to notice a quiet sadness in her eyes, a faint distance in her voice. She was waiting for me, to see it, to come back to her, to be the man I used to be. But I was too blind to notice. Then one rainy evening, later than usual, I walked into the house soaked from the downpour. Emma was sitting silently by the living room window. The soft glow of the lamp lit her face, highlighting the quiet loneliness etched into her expression. Her eyes stared into the rain, as if hoping for something that might never come. When I stepped inside, she turned to look at me. There was no anger in her eyes, no accusation, just a deep sadness, a kind of heartbreak that didn't need words. She asked me one question, so simple, yet so piercing, it cut straight through me. Do you remember the first time we dreamed of this house? I stood there speechless. I had forgotten. I had completely lost sight of that little dream of ours, a cozy home filled with laughter and love. I had traded it for meetings, deadlines, and numbers I thought were important. I was too busy chasing a future to realize I was abandoning the present we once held dear. In that moment, a cold, painful truth hit me like a blade. I had lost too much, things no amount of success could ever replace. I had traded quiet dinners, late-night talks, and the joy in Emma's smile for fleeting achievements and empty praise. And now, looking into those sad, distant eyes, I knew one thing with absolute clarity. The price I had paid was far too high. One day, the invisible storm I never saw coming finally hit and swept away everything I had once held dear. Emma left. There were no screaming arguments, no dramatic tears, no bitter accusations, just a quiet goodbye. A sad smile, like she was gently closing the cover of a book that had long since finished its final chapter. She walked away, leaving me alone in the house that used to echo with laughter and the warmth of love. Her absence was like a vast emptiness, swallowing every sound and every flicker of light. The house turned cold, unfamiliar, just a shell stripped of its soul. I couldn't find a single explanation for her sudden departure. I searched through my memories, grasping at fragments, words I might have ignored, gestures I failed to see, but it all blurred into a storm of regret and sorrow. The days that followed were a long, relentless stretch of guilt and self-reproach. I lived in the shadow of loneliness and remorse. I blamed myself for being so absent, so caught up in work, that I forgot the presence and love of the woman right in front of me. I blamed myself for not cherishing the quiet, simple moments with Emma, for failing to see the value of what I had until it was gone. At night, sleep became a stranger. The big bedroom felt empty and cold. I'd often sit in silence by the window, staring out into the pitch-black night, replaying my mistakes like a broken record, wishing I could go back and undo the words left unsaid, the moments left unshared. Work, friends, all the accomplishments I once chased, they started to feel meaningless. Everything lost its color, its purpose, without Emma there to share in it. That's when it hit me. All the things I thought mattered, they were nothing compared to love, compared to family. Eventually, I walked away from it all. I quit my high-powered job. I said goodbye to my colleagues. I moved back to the countryside, to my family's old house, where I could finally face myself with honesty. No more distractions. No more running from the silence. No more hiding from the weight of my mistakes. In those long, quiet nights in the country, I found myself reliving the past, thinking about all the years, all the choices I couldn't undo. I had lost everything. I had lost the woman I loved most. I had lost the happiness that once sat right in the palm of my hand. And the most painful truth of all, I never realized how precious it was until it was completely, irrevocably gone. In the quiet stillness of the countryside, surrounded by memories that came rushing back like old ghosts, I found myself searching for a new way to release the weight I carried. One day I picked up a pen. At first, it was nothing more than scribbled journal entries, raw, scattered thoughts, emotions I had never dared to share with anyone. I wasn't writing to gain sympathy or understanding. I wrote simply to unburden my heart, to face the wounds that time hadn't healed, the ones I had buried beneath years of silence. The words flowed slowly, like a gentle stream, awakening forgotten memories and long-suppressed feelings. As the pages in my journal grew thicker, something within me began to shift. Putting my pain and regrets into words helped me see the past more clearly. It forced me to confront my own mistakes, and eventually to begin accepting them. Almost by accident, I shared a few of my writings on an online forum. I didn't expect anything. I just wanted a place to let the words breathe outside my own mind. But what happened next took me completely by surprise. Strangers, people who had never met me, left heartfelt, vulnerable comments. They told me my story had touched them, that it stirred something in their hearts, made them reflect on their own lives, their relationships, their families, and the real values that too often get lost in the noise of daily life. Some shared their own stories, of loss, of regret, of chances missed, and lessons learned too late. Despite the sorrow in my story, many said it offered a quiet sense of hope. Hope that even when life falls apart, even when we mess up beyond what we think is repairable, there's still a way forward. We can still find ourselves again. We can still learn to cherish what we have left. Writing became more than just a habit. It became healing. It gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me a new way to connect, to reach out to a world I had shut out for too long, and find that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as alone as I thought. I realized that my story wasn't unique. That pain, grief, and regret are things many people carry, but not everyone finds the words for them. And maybe, just maybe, my words could help. If my story, no matter how small, can offer comfort to someone feeling lost, if it can make even one person stop and appreciate the people they love before it's too late, then maybe all the pain I went through wasn't for nothing. Now as I sit by the window of this old house, watching the gentle rain tapping against the moss-covered roof tiles, I no longer feel the same all-consuming loneliness I once did. The memories of Emma still live within me, undimmed by time. I still remember her radiant smile, the softness in her voice, and those quiet evenings we spent reading together beneath the warm glow of a lamp. I know I can't change the past. I can't turn back time to undo the mistakes I made. But I've learned to accept what I've lost. I've learned to live with the pain and regret, and somehow that acceptance has brought a quiet strength. Time doesn't heal all wounds, but it teaches us how to carry them more gently. Maturity, I've realized, doesn't come from never falling. It comes from having the courage to face our stumbles, to learn from our failures, and to keep walking forward. The trees in my garden, the small daily tasks I now tend to, like planting a seed and patiently waiting for it to sprout, have taught me a powerful lesson, that even when life strips us of everything, we can begin again. Even if it starts with something as small as a single leaf, a single breath. I've learned to cherish the present moment, to find joy in the little things life offers. I've found peace in the silence of nature, in the pages of a good book, in the flow of my own words. Though my heart still carries the scars of the past, I've begun to live a more meaningful life, one that values connection, presence, and the quiet beauty of being truly alive. And if this story has touched something in you, I hope it inspires you to reflect on your own life. Ask yourself, am I truly present with the people I love? Am I living in a way that leaves no room for regret? If this story meant something to you, please share it with someone you care about. Let them know that no matter how hard life gets, no matter what we've lost, we can always find the strength to begin again. We can always choose to live more fully, to love more deeply, and to appreciate what we have before it slips away. Because sometimes the most precious things in life are the simplest ones, the ones we so often overlook in the rush of our everyday lives.